So hello to all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Soccer Hub Talks. My name is Ricardo Albeira. I'm the CEO and founder of Soccer Hub. Soccer Hub is an online education platform for soccer coaches, soccer analysts, soccer scouts. Well, just visit us and I'm sure that we'll be amazed with all of the content that we make available. Also, during this webinar, we'll be offering 25% discount to all of those that are assisting and watching these live talks. I will introduce a little bit later some information on how you can collect this discount. Before we start, I would like you please to click on the like button if everything is okay with the audio and the video. Also, I would ask you please to introduce some information about yourselves, such as the country that you are based in, and also some information about your job, if you are a soccer coach or soccer analyst, to understand a bit more the profile of our audience so we can adapt a bit our conversation. So today, it's a big pleasure for me to present the Soccer Hub Talks called Playing Soccer in the USA. And for that, we have invited first a Portuguese football legend, António Simões, and also Pedro Miguel Santos, that is now a player in the US in Columbus Crew. So it's a big pleasure to have these two different generations of experiences in the US. To moderate this panel, we'll be having Nuno Milheiro, that I will introduce now. Hello, Nuno. Hello, Pedro. Hello, António Simões. It's a great pleasure to have you all. I'm going to leave you now with this conversation, and I hope that you enjoy, and I hope that our audience also enjoy. Nuno, the panel is yours. See you guys in a bit.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. Hello all, and thank you again for being with us, and thank you to Pedro to accepting our invitation, and also to António. I want to say that both of them, I met them when I decided to come back to football, and they are both very humble, and they accepted straight away my invitation, and they've been very important in all this process also. And it's with people like them that we are always learning, and it's a pleasure. I think, Pedro, don't take me wrong, just to say this. I'm with my hat because today we have a big legend, not only from Portuguese football and also from the world football, that many people, at everybody, I invite everybody to have a look. Today, in these days, we have Google that helps a lot. So just do a quick search, and you'll see how amazing was his career. So I will take my hat to the big António Simões. So just a small thing. So we have also Pedro that currently plays in Columbus Crew. So he had also he went 3 years ago to play in the US, and he's doing brilliant. And for sure, he have many things still to conquer, and success ahead. And he's lucky that from the three of us, he's the one that still have the chance to play and to achieve things. And it's great to have him. And António was a pioneer in the 70s when he went to the US to play football, and have many stories, as you can imagine, to share with all of us. And I believe it's with people like them, like both of them, that we all can learn also a different reality. So I'm going to do a small introduction, because you are all here to listen them and not me. So I'm just trying to talk in the beginning and make a small introduction. So Pedro started to play very young in Sporting Lisbon Academy. Then he was playing in lower divisions in Portugal, where he was playing very well and with a very hard work and his humble way. He managed to arrive to the first division in Portugal. Then he joined Sporting de Braga, that is the big team in Portugal, and he went on loan for a short period to Romania. He had that experience also. That he returned to Portugal to play for Rio Ave, that is also a team on the first division in Portugal, on loan also from Braga. And then he did also great in there, and he joined the main team of Braga, where he was a captain before he joined Columbus Crew 3 seasons ago. Um, Antonio, Antonio has he played for many years, and he had different roles in football. He played 595 matches as a professional player. He won 10 Portuguese leagues. I say 10. I don't know if someone can, if it's possible to have more than that. 5 Portuguese Cups, one Champions League that at the time was the European Champions Cup. He played also
Mhm.
World Cup in '66 in England, where Portugal was third. And what is still the best classification ever that Portugal had in World Cup. He played with the great Pele, and by the side of the king for us, the eternal Eusebio, that they played together many years. They shared many things, and they were great friends. So he was also assistant manager at the Portuguese national team and the Iran national team. Also have experience as a sports director and a TV host. So basically, he have more experience on everything than me, because even in presenting things, he is more experienced. So thank you both. Thank you to both. So let's start with Antonio. I have first question, and please, guys, also ask your questions. Please feel free, and please ask questions to them, because it's a big opportunity. So first, Antonio, how was how it came across to you the opportunity to play in the US at the time?
Well, first of all, let me regards all of you. I want to share my experience with you and listen to you as well, because we always learn something, even from young people, some like you. Um, in that time, back to 70s, uh, North American Soccer League, that was the the name of the professional league that born about that time. All the big players in that time went to US. Pelé, Beckenbauer, Jan Cruyff, George Best, etc. And I had the opportunity to see him again. And I had the opportunity to play with them because I was selected by MLS from Mr. Bob Robson, that was the coach, to play against England, against Brazil, etc. So it was a tremendous experience. The first time when a friend invited me to go to US to play, I said no, no, because it was no a big extraction, to play in US. But then I learned that I could learn a lot of things in the US. That was my goal. It was the reason before I was saying to Pedro, stay there, learn things. You cannot find a country to enjoy, play, and learn how to be afterwards doing something for the game, because they are the best. Nobody can organize them better. Nobody can have the culture they have, the relationship, the combination with the sport and the business. Nobody can do better than that. And I hope Pedro gonna learn that and be prepared to do something else out of the lines for the game. So I decided to accept it and became a new experience in my life that still today um, very important for me. I have no questions about that. American has good things, bad things, but in a professional sports, nobody can do better than them. Pedro, use it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
And thank you for sharing
yeah,
your
exactly.
moments.
Thank you for sharing that, Antonio. And the same to Pedro. And first of all, of course, like I believe also your way, you are a very very humble and nice person and an amazing player. And I think also because I'm a scout, and that also counts when we choose players. So I believe you are also being chosen by that, and of course your amazing qualities as a player. So how it was, how it came to you, the opportunity, if you like to share with us, the opportunity to play in the US, and how it was your reaction. Like Antonio said, how it was his reaction in the beginning, how it was your reaction. Were you expecting or not? Or
Yeah, when I received the the proposal, was I was in Braga, and my agent, he called me and he said I need to decide quick because I had a contract with a new contract with Columbus Crew, and I need to decide quick. So I talked with my wife and my family, and I didn't know nothing about MLS or about the club, and but because I spoke with my agent, and he told me that probably is gonna be a very good experience, a new country, new style of play. And when I accept, and I come here to US, and now looking behind, for me I was was perfect because I'm playing well, and I play almost every games, and I feel very happy here. In like Antonio said, it's a big country. I'm learning every day. They have a different mentality, and this is great for me to grow up like a player and like a man.
that's great. Thank you for sharing that, Pedro. And yeah, for sure you are in the right place, and you are doing great. Of course, we all follow your career, and the most important thing on a player is also to be playing, and to have the possibility also to learn, and you are in a perfect place, like Antonio said, to learn new things, different mentalities, and everything. So, Antonio, how it was the first impact that you had when you arrived to the US? Also, I can join to the same question about the language. If you already were fluent in English, if it was hard at the time, also the first impact that you had. I don't know if you've been before in the US,
Mm-hmm.
you went to play there or not, and what was the first impact you had?
Two or three notes, very quick. First, I had been there with Benfica in LA, San Francisco, New Jersey, etc., etc. But one thing is when you go there and stay a couple of days and play and get out of there. Different thing is when you pack and you go for stay. Not, I'm not saying for good, but you have to be prepared how to deal with the society of US. Of course, we gonna do what we love. It's play and helps very much. We became immigrant, but we go with contract, not just contract of the game, but contract of life. Two different things. And the US has quality of life, so we can be adapted. In the same time, learn the language. It's very important. You never can be involved in society 100% if you don't learn the language. That's happened with me. Let me have fun here. Why when I arrived in the United States, I said, "Do you speak English?" I said, "Yes, no problem. Okay, bye bye." So, I mean, but then I had the privilege after Boston, that was my first year, I went to California. After California, I went to New Jersey. After New Jersey, I went to Detroit, to Chicago, to Kansas City, to Las Vegas, to Phoenix, to Austin, Texas. Beautiful city. So I know the several Americans that you face it. America is not just one America. You move, you see different Americans. So, but I was playing. I was doing what I love it. It makes it easy to be adapted. But we have to understand America has the possibility to show you several things that you don't learn in Europe. All right. Sometimes it's difficult, but if you be comfortable to learn the language, to have friends, and play the game that you like it, then becomes less difficult to and the desire to continue to invites you. Okay, so I hope that Pedro um, understands this. I believe he does because now he has time enough to understand that, and he lives in part of the U.S. that is not easy. There's not a Portuguese people there.
Mm.
So he has to learn the language. He has to talk with the neighborhood, right? To become friends, to be in the locker room. That the only language there it's probably English, and they'll be love Spanish. Then he has to play. He has to training. He has to understand the culture, not the culture, just the Walling culture, the game, but the culture, the society. So he grows up. I'm sure that Pedro, when finished play and back in Portugal or in another country, is prepared to do something more than just talk about football. Okay, if I don't have grandchild, but if I had a grandchild, I want to say, okay, if you have the possibility to go to US, go, you learn. Of course, US has some bad things that we see almost every day, but it has so many good things that you just can just waste time and the opportunity. So Pedro, don't don't let somebody take your place. Get him there. Do it. Learn. You become completely prepared to be a very important person to change the mentality of Portugal.
Thank you, Antonio. That's true, and then for sure, Pedro appreciates the advice as well. Yeah, because there will be a career after, no? So it's good also to prepare. Yeah, and it's good.
Yeah, this is what I said to everybody. I don't know my future, but if I have the opportunity to stay here more years, I accept. I will be here because I like the country, I like the mentality, and I like the league too. It's a very competition. We have very competition in the league, very good teams, and like Antonio said, the mentality is completely different, and I think this is the biggest difference between Portugal and here is the mentality, because here everybody wants the really league, and which every club wants to win, but they all they all wants the mentality to win, but everybody's friend one each other, and I think this is the biggest thing here in the league.
Yeah, for sure. And please do like Antonio, and one day please come back and share that knowledge with us, and do something for Portugal that we need you.
No, we need people. We
Yeah.
need people that learn in other countries, especially in the US, to change the mentality, how to run the clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, how to understand, because it's possible to combine the passion of the game from the fans, right, and get business successful.
Yeah.
Is not, it's possible to do together, right? Sometimes in Portugal it's more difficult because the guy that runs the club doesn't understand that it's completely possible to make them together. Let me give you this example. Benfica has a full stadium when play against Sporting or Porto, right? Why is not full stadium when he plays against Passo Ferreira? Go to US and learn how they do that, what they create, how they bring completely the families to the game. Why? So the Portuguese people has to understand how to do that. So plus they respect the player, right? They don't treat the player some like it's one piece of the game. No, it is more than that.
Sure.
Let me just share with Pedro. And Pedro, so if you get a chance, do it. I was 40 years old. I became manager in Phoenix, the club in Phoenix. The manager is from Scotland. He knows me very well, from Benfica. My English was not bad at all. My sport English, my soccer English, but it was not good enough to represent the club and sell the game. So he puts me in the school. He said, Tony, your English is okay, but you go to the school because I need you to talk to the big companies to fill the stadium, to buy the box. So I went to the school for 7 months to learn how to speech, not to talk, to speech, two different things. This is all things that Pedro has to start think, even if he's young, he has a long way to go. Fine. But try to be prepared. Think about what I'm going to do when I finish play. I'm going to be a manager. I want to be a coach. I have to be. I want to be in a scout department. What am I going to do? If he loves the game, he has all that experience. Get him. Get something. Plus, you cannot forget anymore, and already Pedro said that they beat Portugal twice already. They have some good ball players. The level of the league, maybe the people doesn't know, but is the best 8 in the world. What is Portugal? But Portugal is European champion. Yes, it is. But as far as concerned, our league is very poor. Something is wrong here, right? We have the average 6,000 people per game. In the US is 26 average.
And then, if you allow me, António, sorry to interrupt you. And we are talking about, of course, the country is much bigger, but the main sport is not even soccer. We are talking about the country that have many sports, and all of the stadiums or the arenas are full. So I think, because this is a conversation, also participate a bit. Just Pedro said a very interesting thing, that he said the clubs, they of course all of them want to win. They are rivals inside the pitch, but at the same time they respect each other, and that's very important, because even last week, it was last week when I was interviewing Katsuranis, we were talking about here the three main clubs, the rivalry, and one thing is very important to understand. We need our rivals, because if we don't have teams to play against, there is no game. So you know what I mean. So it's something that is important to have other teams. If you have good teams, better, because you become better also, and that's very important. And I would like just to say that we have many people watching, and we have some questions in here. Of course, I didn't want to interrupt, and I'm gonna make some questions in here. Although I think one from Philip Telsch. Thank you, and hello, Philip. Thank you for your question. So he's asking to Pedro, what is the big difference between Portugal and the US regard play and training methodologies? I think, Philip, I think I have that question further on, but if Pedro wants to answer just briefly and straight to the point, and yeah, we can.
Yeah, the biggest difference between Portugal and US is the tactical, because in Portugal the team they work very hard on tacticals, and here the game is more open. We have more opportunities to score goals or to create opportunities for a team, and this is why the games have almost every game have like three goals per game. But for me, because I like to have a ball and I like to play free, for me it's perfect here because I have a lot of space. And like I said, the mentality too is completely different. But more specific, talking about the game is more the tactical. The difference is tactical.
Thank you, Pedro. We also have a question here to Mr. António, like Sahim is saying. He's asking how many games did you play, António, during one season at your peak of your career? I have the answer, but you can say, because I was doing my homework. You know, and you play on the 14. We are talking about 14 seasons at Benfica, and you had an average of 30, more than 30 games per season. And we are talking about a time that there were not so many, matches like in these days. So it means that you were playing for sure almost 100% of the matches, at least in Benfica, during 14 seasons. That what is unbelievable. But if you have more more to say to add to that, yeah.
So with me, happen many times. The number never is right. I play more than 600. I don't know, 600. I don't know, 40 something. Because in Portugal they forgot the times that I went to Japan, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Macau, whatever. You just name it. I had been in 84 countries, just for the people to have an idea. Okay, so I played too much more than that, and I was 16 years in Benfica, not 14, because I had 2 years with the junior. Okay, but I take all of that. Okay, so it's a lot of games, and then it's and show the game show as everything on the life, the happiness, the sad, the day that everything is right, the day everything is wrong. And everything is there. We learn and we grow up with that. But I like to say just a little bit about the question to Pedro. before. Tactically, the game, of course, changed, but the most change because sometimes the change not always is a signal of evolution. He has to think about that. And the game changed tactically, yes, but the majority times not for better, to be better. We have to realize the dynamics of the game was the big change on the game. Why? Because every single player, football or soccer or football, basketball or whatever, okay, became better athlete. And because that, the game create different dynamics. The big evolution was not the really game, but it was on a man and a woman that became athlete. Look to the Olympics, 4 in 4 years. What happened? Somehow, a man or woman broke a record. So we don't know the real limit today, what is possible to do. This reflects on the game. I'm not discussing if US play better than Portugal or vice versa. One thing I guarantee, the league of US has a level that the majority people try to visualize. It's a mistake. They have good competition, and they have what Europe miss, that UEFA and FIFA refuse all the time to copy US, but they will be there someday. It's the draft in any sport in US. Who has the rights to be with number one draft? It's the team that has a worse record the season before, the year before. Why? Because to make the competition, that's what Pedro said. Everybody plays to win. Yes, but everybody is tight to win because the value of the teams are very similar. Because that's exactly what US people wants to. They don't like to see 5-0, 10-0. In a league in Portugal, it was 10-0. Benfica 10, Nacional 0. This is impossible to repeat. This is not a competition. That's what Pedro was saying. 2, 3, 4 games per game, but it's not for nothing. It's 3-2. It's, so it's two different stories. Okay, the league is concerned to make sure by the pattern of each one that the competition it's there because the value are very similar, not the money. This is the big difference of the mentality. Okay, what you see in Europe, Manchester City is every year stronger than Benfica, or Barcelona every year is stronger than Porto, etc., etc. So we are creating here a big difference between the Portuguese football. It's not the national team. I'm talking the competition, European competition, right? And there's a good moment. It's a good question right now. When a Portuguese team is going to be European champion? When? Saying 100 years from now? Yeah. Well, I'll be not here, so not a big problem for me. So this is the big discussion. This is the point that UEFA and FIFA have to discussion. What kind of football they want? They want a competition between them, or they want the money. That is the big point. But I'm going to let Pedro talk about, because he has been there every day and he see the training, all these things. Yeah, I'm sure he understand what I'm saying, and I'm sure that probably can say better than me at this point what happened over there.
Yeah, for sure, I agree. It's true. One thing I can say to it, here you can say, oh, this team is probably is gonna be the winner, but you don't have sure, because
Exactly.
here every year different things that happen, different teams wins, and here is hard. You have a straight wins, like one team wins like five, 6 straight wins. It's almost impossible, because when we play away, it's hard to play. We lost, we come back at home, we win, we can win the next game, but 3-4 games it's hard to win. So here the competition is very high, and all teams are in the same level, and this is what I love in this country, because every team can be a champion every year. For the competition, for the players, every player wants to win, and it's a perfect league to come here and try to be a champion, because we learn a lot of things, and I agree with Antonio. He is a very good place to stay, to learn, and for sure in the future I will be better, much better than I am today.
Good.
That's great. And I like these talks are important also because, of course, I have some questions, but with the conversation that we are taking, and also leads to other parts, and I think a curiosity that I also have now that you are talking about that, and Antonio said about the atmosphere that you live in the stadium with the families, and you see the supporters. I believe you also agree, Pedro. They don't. They are not so aggressive or saying bad about the referee, about the players. There is more respect for the like Antonio said, for the players. Do you guys inside the pitch also feel happier to play in that you are part of, like I say, like a fair competition, and also you are appreciated? Of course, even if the other team wants to win, if you are happier playing because you know that people value what you are doing inside the pitch. If that makes any influence or not, if you have more pleasure in a certain way to be part of it, or more proud.
For me, I like the rivalry, but the good rivalry. So, and here we have rivalry for sure. And last year I play the biggest rivalry in Ohio against Cincinnati. Was the first game, and the atmosphere for both clubs was amazing. And our supporters, our fans went to their stadium, and in the end we won the game 3-1, and we stay in the pitch singing with our fans, and the other fans from Cincinnati, they stay in the stadium, and we don't have any problems with this. And this is impossible to happen in Portugal. And we saw a couple years ago when Porto won in Benfica Stadium, they should off the lights and these things. So here the mentality is different for sure, but we have the rivalry here, but it's a good one. So, and like I said before, I'm enjoying playing here. I like to play here because the mentality is completely different, and the people here is amazing. sometimes we are playing the game and we look to the stands and we see the guys eating, drinking on the stadium. They have a table. They stay together. They stay with their families, and this is amazing. And also too, we have here one day and it's the animals day, and everybody brings the dogs or the other pets to the stadium to see the game, and this is amazing here. We see different things here, and if we look into Portugal, it's impossible to these things happen.
Yeah, that's the point I wanted to reach. Like not asking directly, but the thing that in the stands they eat, they enjoy. It's like they go for have fun. Like you go like for theater, like you go, like to cinema. You are enjoying, and in the end there is respect.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And almost in every stadium they have a restaurant, or which is inside or in the stands. And in my stadium we have a restaurant in the stands behind the goal, so the people can stay there eating, drinking, be a conversation, and see the game too. And this is amazing, and like I said, just is possible because of the mentality.
Yeah, exactly, completely.
Oh, no. Yeah. Just to say a little bit of this. The way they feel, the way they see, all right, the way that the business, the way they sell is entertainment. This is a big difference. Sports in US is for everybody, and it's special for the family to have fun. If you lose a game, the people is waiting for you, and they say, Pedro, it's okay. Next game, we're going to win. This is what they say. Over here, if they get a chance, they call you any name because you lose the game. This is the big difference. And this is a base and sports culture. This is the big difference. In Portugal, don't exist sport culture. Exist culture of the club, not the culture of the sport. This is the big difference. Everybody understands. Everybody accepted the entertainment to sports can be business as well. So it's no discussion about that. And it's very interesting. And I want to finish with this. Compared with Europe, they have more than 100 years the sports. In America, has 40 or 50. And they give a lesson how to do it, how to combine, how to bring the family, how to have fun. Nobody gets upset because loses a game. And let me say this for fun, to have fun. Let's have fun here. Let's say this. They are so good. They have a score when the ball was out of bounds, out of the stadium, comes the applause. You call baseball home run, right? Right, Pedro? When the guy gets that ball and puts the ball out of the stadium, everybody goes nuts. In soccer, if you put ball out of bounds, maybe they're going to say something. Hey, this guy cannot play. You see the difference? It's incredible. The imagination, the combination, the mentality, the culture they show to us. That is the way to go. You don't see a club to close the doors because he has no money. But you see is the stadiums and the pavilions full and kids all over the place watching the game. Over here, It's very weird. You see the families with the kids on the game. Over here, when you go to the game and see Benfica Porto, Porto Sporting Benfica, you are looking some like you are in Gaza with all that police around that people. It's some like you go to the war. In the United States, you go to have fun. That is the big difference. Education, behave, respect.
Sure.
We play better, yes, we do. But they have more fun. This is the big difference. But don't forget, they already beat us twice. Let's don't forget that, right? Because they have some good American players now. They have more than 200 players, American players, play outside of the U.S. People doesn't know this. You probably, Pedro, you know that. You feel that the American kid can play the game. All right? It's very important to say this because we think we are too much better than the Americans. Well, let's let's talk about that they beat us twice already, right?
Yeah, hopefully not many times, but
I hope not many times. But the kids, see,
yeah, the preparation.
let me just a little supplement about this. When I went to US, the coaches they are not very rich about training. Not special, not special about the game, but they learn. You have too many good coaches in America now. They know how to training very well. Okay, they invest a lot in the kids. Every club today has kids teams to play. US in the World Cup under 16, under 18, under 20, they are there all the time. They compete now in a level they can beat us as well. They can lose. So they are too much better. They know the game. They are very humble. They want to listen. They want to. They understand they are behind. They're learning. They're competing very well. Okay, so they are in a good way. Contrary what we're doing here, because you can see in a Portuguese league, so many players play the same. You see every year after year in the Portuguese league, players with the same good things and with the same bad things year after year. We are training very well. It's true. Everybody trains very well. Everybody knows how to training. The big question is how to teach. Big coach in the United States, Pat Riley, LA Laker and Miami Heat, champion. He was running at that moment in his career. It's time to training less and teach more. This is the big question for the coaches today. Less training and teach more the players. So many players need to be teachers. No, they don't need training that level anymore. What they need is to correct the mistakes they make in the game. You don't repeat that mistake. This is the big question for the coaches. In United States, the coaches are very humbling and they stop, they correct things in a good way. They treat the player very well, but they teach. That is very important.
For sure. And we go to that subject in a bit, Antonio. That's very interesting, and I also would like you to share at least one or two stories that I had the privilege to know that you shared with me before, and I think everybody should know. And but I have a question here for Pedro also. I have a question from Always Chowdhury. Questions. Fitness is a massive part of American sports, as we know. Did you find the difference at elite level, or if you struggled, or if you found that that part was a bit harder? I believe that's the question.
Yeah, I felt the difference because today, still today, I feel different because they work very hard in the training, like in Portugal, every player play very hard. But also after the training, we have training in the gym. So, and this is the thing I was to do in Portugal because most of the teams they don't work hard in the gym. They do corrective things in the gym, but here we do really good things in the gym. And when I come here the first year, like you can see, I'm not a gym player. I didn't like to do too much gym, but now I need to work in the gym because after the training, every training we have a work gym, and even now we are at home. We can go out to training, and we have a app we can log in the phone, and we have a full training to do things at home. So yes, they work a lot in the gym, and but I feel good. I feel very good now. I feel like I like my body now, and I'm ready to play 19 minutes running because here the every team they play 19 minutes without stopping, so no one's lost time, stupid time. They want to play, and it's 19 minutes running, and I feel very good here.
That's great. Thank you for answering, and always also thank you for your question. Just one more question to Pedro because after I want to pass with the same subject to Antonio, and if I will challenge Antonio if he can share with us a magnificent story that he had. Pedro, do you have the chance to follow other sports in the US or not?
Yeah, I like more NBA, and I had the opportunity to watch a game with LeBron James when he played in Cleveland. So the sports that I follow more is NBA. But also we have a professional ice team, hockey team here, ice hockey, and here in Columbus, and the club Columbus and them they are friends, and they send invitations to us to watch the game, and I had the opportunity to watch in live for the first time on my life, and was amazing atmosphere there, and I will enjoy very much watching the game.
I can imagine. And you said NBA. Of course, we are all fans on NBA, and that's the part before I go to Antonio because it's related also with NBA. But I can tell you are both very lucky because you've been watching one of the most incredible athletes, LeBron James, and Antonio had the chance to watch many times the best of the best on ice hockey. That was the great Wayne Gretzky that at the time was like still a legend. So yeah, I just wanted to say that, and because I think Antonio don't is not upset that I share this. That no, and
It's very interesting what Pedro was saying, and we learn with another sports. It's
That's
a privilege.
Sorry, Antonio. Yeah, with that, please tell that story that you said about the training on NBA, the Phoenix Suns, if you can, of course, if you can share, because I find
At that time in my life, after watching all these tremendous athletes, guys with those to 2 metros de 13, I don't, I mean, 7'2", whatever, I have no idea between 2 metros e 13, o que é isso em inglês? Não sei. I know it's a tall guy. I know he's a very tall guy. And I was very impressed with the coordination of these guys, right? With that high, they go up and come back. Incredible coordination. The best athletes I see ever was the basketball players. Fantastic, right? And then there's Wayne Grepson. You remember me, Livramento, when play hockey in Portugal. Fantastic. And I was reading one of these books, and one of the most important men was his father. He was a kid with 15, 16 years old. And the father is telling him that don't be where is the pack. You have to be where the pack gonna be. It's very interesting. You can say this in soccer as well. Don't be where's the ball. Try to be where the ball gonna be. This is a big challenge, right? How to learn to be very intelligent, to find out where going to be the ball. If you find this, you're going to be there first. If you're going to be there first, you're going to win. So I have this experience to learn. Some, like I mentioned before, Patrelli, one of the best basketball coaches, and this guy, this kid, Wayne Grepsty, he was a small guy, but he was so fast they cannot catch him. Okay, and in hockey, you know the physics, it's very violent, the contact, right? And and I had the experience. And I was when I was in Phoenix. I was very curious, and I'm going to finish with this because I was watching hockey, I was watching basketball, I was watching baseball, I was watching whatever. Okay, but my curiosity was how they training, how this guy's training. They make so much money, they are rich, but they got up 7 o'clock in the morning to be on the pitch 8 o'clock. This was my curiosity. And I watched training Phoenix Suns. Very interesting. They start to come to the pitch, get fun, try to put the ball on the basket. Then came the coaches, came the group, talk a little bit, training very, very hard, right? And the end with music all the time. Music, they were training with music. I'm talking about 1980, 81, 82, a long time ago. And for me, after that and training, they were making 1 against 1, 2 against 2, playing, compete. Who's gonna pick the lunch? I mean, I was incredible. These guys are making a lot of money, very rich. they are playing 2 against 2. If who gonna pay the lunch? Who gonna lose and pay the lunch? I mean, this is very interesting. Different mentality completely. And I'm gonna finish about this issue, this form. One of the most big challenge we can have in our lives today, it's not is not to see if you can play or not. It's to see if you can compete or not. This is the big difference. You can be a tremendous player. You can have tremendous skills. You can even play good, but can you compete? No. So it's very difficult if you cannot compete. That's the competition is the bigger challenge you can have in your life. Anything in sports for sure. Chris Pedro, how old are you now?
32.
32. You are in a good shape. You're doing the right things. You're doing the good physical training afterwards or before the really training. Just do it because that's exactly that make you um, more years to play. And now I'm going to finish with this. When I went to US, I was European champion. I have CV fantastic compared with the others. But when they start training to doing stretch, it was a shame for me because I could not stretch. I was the worst player on the field. They were stretching, and I could not move. Okay, then I move with the ball. Yes, but I cannot. I hear stretching in 1975. I never did in my life. They are doing already. Okay, so we became better player with that. You know that. So try to share with the people the big difference when you became with a proper coach to make you better athlete to make uh, to play longer. Pedro, you're gonna play until 35, 36, no problem, because you are in the right country.
I agree.
Yeah, I just want to add, Antonio, you said a very interesting point that what is important is not to how to be able to train or to play, is to compete. And actually this comes to also, you see, like the ideas come, and yesterday came on the news that there is a goalkeeper that with 24 years old in England, that he finished his career because he said he couldn't cope with pressure competing, and he was playing in the top, on the Premier League. Even Tottenham was after him, and he said he couldn't compete. He was enjoying a lot training, but it was the massive pressure. I think he was very honest with himself. He had a very courage to say that, because it's not easy. But it's for people to understand that is not easy for to be a professional. And I think you agree with that. It's not easy to be inside and always with the pressure and always with many things. So what people that should uh, understand and do it, like you said, they do in there in the US where he's Pedro, is like respect also the player, because many times you don't know what is behind. If the player is playing injured, or if he had some problem with his family, because you are also humans, and you know what I mean. The pressure is massive. So this is an example of what Antonio was saying. And I'd like also, because we don't have much time, I'd like to ask to Pedro. and then also to António to understand also the evolution in that part. That is the scouting. That is my area at on football. So how it is the scouting in in the US? Do you think it's something fundamental in every club? Do they take like as a very important part of the club, the scouting department? If you can tell more specific about your club, if you know like how many people they have, or at least if they have a scouting department, and if for them it's important. And also then after to challenge Antonio to say the same, because we know from other sports that scouting is fundamental in other sports. I'd like also to know in soccer how it is, how are the things now in the US, please.
Yeah, we 2 years ago we had a scouting department with like 5, 6 guys. They work all of the world. The club had one guy, one Portuguese guy, and he works in Portugal, and one Brazilian, and the other guys working in the South America too. And now we still have the scouting department, but I just know one guy. I think he's the number one, and he works in England, and I know he. They said he found Virgil van Dijk, so I think he works in Scotland when he bring them to Celtic, and now he works for my club. He's British. I think he's from England, and he's the number one. He and the club works very hard on South America to find players, and I think all clubs have the scouting department to find players, because here we have a lot of players from South American too. So the clubs needs to work with scouting.
Yeah, so we found a big difference between in this case, Portugal and the US in that case. Yeah, so yeah, for sure. And Antonio, can you share with us if when you arrived and all the years that you've been, because you've been quite a few years in the
Yeah.
US, and if there were scouting departments in soccer already, or only in other sports, and what you think about scouting in general.
I am in a time that the member of the club call the club and say, listen, it's this kid somewhere, right? That he has tremendous ability. It's better you guys go there and see him. This guy is calling the club. It was no scouting. Was no scouting in 60s, 70s. Is no scouting. The scouting comes later of that. It's one of the most important departments on the club. The same thing in any corporation. I mean, see the best guys. They go to the universities and say what the best students in engineer, and then they call them. Right? It's everywhere. So same thing in football or in United States soccer. About that, of course, what you have in our post to see a player, it's completely different years ago, and tomorrow it's going to be better. I mean, you have videos, you have films, you have the games, you have everything, right? So you have less possibility to make a mistake. But you must have some sense. You have to be very sensitive to see and discover what is under tree. The scouting is not good enough It's not it's not enough to see if the player can play or not. Of course, that is important, but what he doesn't show, but you discover on him that he can do it. That is the key, because always it's possible by couple of things that you see and get the feeling that is something behind that that you don't see, but you know that you can do it. You can develop that. That is the really key for the scouting people.
Completely.
You know, I mean, I'm to be honest, I never read this. Never. I'm talking about the experience. I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher. What I want is to share with another people that has interesting on game by my experience. That's exactly what I am today. My time is gone. I don't want to be a coach. I cannot play anymore. I just love the game, and then I share with another people. That's exactly what I do. The scouting, of course, it's very important to find people that knows the game, yes, but it can discover something that looks like is not there, but you see it. There's something else that fascinated you and make you sure that you recommended that play. I'm not talking about the kings of the game. I'm talking about the others.
Of course, because
You know what I'm saying? You know, kings, you're gonna see says how many kings in 100 years? Maybe 10. That's not that ones that you're talking about. It's another ones.
exactly. Yeah, I used to say, usually I say like even here when Ricardo Balbeira challenged me to do these webinars, I thought to myself and I shared with him, I wanted to do also my scouting with the people I invite because I see something on them that they can share. Not everybody is able to share, so I'm
Exactly.
lucky. And thank you to Ricardo that he allows me to approach the people that is the case of both of you guys, that I see that you are open to share, that you bring always something very good to football. And so even to choose the people that I invite, I do scouting. So it's a way to do scouting. so, so yeah, and I wanted to say to you, Antonio, of course, your times are not gone, and say a special thank you because when I was starting, I remember we are already in touch for 2 or 3 years, and you could just think like, oh, this comes this. Well, I'm not so young, but let's say I'm young. You could think like, oh, this young guy comes to me now. I already did my part, and I'm not gonna share nothing, or I'm not gonna even answer. You've been all the time like there. You've been calling me, asking me how I was. You've been asking how was my project. We've been talking a lot, and I think that's very. It was one of the things that was making me, of course, keep going and stronger in this part. Pedro, the same. I know is. I found out recently we have friends in common, and everybody have the same opinion. That is a brilliant player. Please, guys, follow him because he's still playing and support him, and because he deserves not only as a player, as his behavior and as a person. It's fantastic, and about Antonio and both of them go. We have this tool these days that is fantastic. That is YouTube, and you can find things. If you go to my Facebook, I share some pictures from Antonio from the old times, and
Mhm.
Pedro's matches and goals, and it's very easy. It's very easy to find. And but I challenge you to find from both of them because it's they are. it's completely, it's treasures. And just wanted to say, like, one last question, very briefly. If you believe that in medium and long term, the US, let's say the clubs in the US, if they were competing directly against the big teams in Europe, they will be at the same level, because it's hard to compare, in these times. But of course, there is history. Many clubs like Barcelona, Real Madrid, they have history. They have the best players, we know. But do you think doing the things in this way, in the medium and or long term, it's possible that that can happen? Just briefly, just you can start Pedro and then António, and then we can finish.
Just to clarify, you are asking if the soccer teams can compete with
If
the
you
other
be at the same
at
level,
the same level?
yes, exactly.
No. It's for now. It's hard to compete for the biggest teams in Europe, because they have the best players in the world, and the best players playing in Europe. And so this is why when they finish the almost finished careers, they came here, because I think Europe it's the better teams, the better players. Everybody wants to play in Europe, so I think it's hard for the team American teams compete against. But I believe if you put a West team in a other competition in Europe, they can compete. They can do good things, but compete against biggest team, for
But
now it's impossible.
but in the medium or long term, in a few years, if they keep doing this, let's say in 20, 30 years, and because you can see more and more players also going younger. We have example like Giovinco. I think he went quite young, not so old, and some players are going still in the age that they are on top. So when we find that also in other countries, so we believe that in the long term, it will be possible to be like much more competitive, and because of course, like we said, also the salaries can be comparing in other sports. Soccer is for sure not the best well paid sport in America, but comparing to Portugal, of course it is. But if you see the teams, they can improve to that stage, even if it will take long, or you don't think it's possible.
No, I think in the future it's gonna be possible, because the league is growing, and every year much biggest players come here, and young players with huge quality. And I think in the future they can compete, but it's a long way, because here the things it's different, because we have a minimum of 3 guys. They can pay more, so it's hard to bring more biggest players. But I believe, because like I said, the team, they have young quality players, and in the future for sure the league is growing more and more, and they will be ready to compete against the biggest teams.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also asking this because we have the opposite the example. For example, the United States in basketball, I believe it was in '94 in Athens. They have the first dream team with Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, all those players. They were beating easily the European teams, and then the Europeans they learned a lot with NBA, and we got to a stage that we have players from Europe playing in NBA, and it happened already. European countries winning against the US. So it can happen the same, but opposite in football, I believe, in my opinion, in the future, because they also very good to improve in that way. And yeah, so that's what.
Yeah, I believe too, because like we talked before, the mentality in here it's different. They want to win. They want to be better in every sports. And obviously in the soccer, they want to come be a biggest country in the soccer, and they working hard for the leagues growing. And I believe for sure in the future they will be in the same level.
Sure. And thank you, Pedro. And Antonio, and for you, the same question, and with one thing, if you can please also share the what when you came to Portugal 40 years ago,
Mhm.
those ideas that you were bringing and that you were ahead already 40 years.
Mhm.
That you had those ideas that now they are already existing. If you can share them, the ones I think you know the ones I'm talking about, the interview, that famous interview, and if you can share with everybody that that is an example that the things can take long, but when they are well done, like they work, properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But two or three notes. The first to say that you talk about U.S. that has traditional sports for the families. It's very difficult for the soccer sports to compete with another. They need another generations. It's impossible to bring the soccer culture to a country that born with baseball, then with football, and another sports. It's very difficult, right? Plus, the families they see the kid with more future in basketball or in baseball instead to be in soccer. So it's more difficult. The good thing the American did was massification, bring players and players and players, the quantity of players, the number. Compare when I went to United States with today, it's incredible, right? Every year more players come. Why? Because became the scholarship, the program, youth program in the U.S. Bring the possibility to the kids to have school free playing soccer. It was not possible before. Today, they are in the same circumstances, so that helps. And of course, the money involved in soccer, it's not the same money I'm involved in basketball or in baseball. So it's very difficult to for the game to be very rich with some like another sports. Another thing is the culture of the game still very young. The relationship with the sport still very young. They are growing up every single year. So I believe someday they're going to be in the same level with the same amount of business, some like baseball or another sport. But they are doing the right thing that never did before. There's so many clubs that have their own stadium, have their own academy. That is the way to do. They did the opposite way. Before, in my time, they brought the big players to bring people in the stadium, and they forgot to develop, to make a youth program to develop the American player. They did that later, and they start to compete in the same level that they start beating another nations. So they are in a good track. They are in a good way to do it. So they need time. They have the tremendous advantage. This the American kid has the possibility to be better athlete in any sport that it's a tremendous advantage. But of course, soccer is not playing with the hands; it's playing with the feet. So that is the big difference. But I hope that US become a big nation on the game. Has a tremendous potential to be a tremendous business. 1994, still today, the #1 World Cup ever in organization and people and the stands, everything. They know how to do it. So sometimes I miss US to show how to run the game and the business and the promotion, the respect, etc., etc. To finish, to say that I enjoy this conversation. I'm glad that Pedro and his family feel comfortable playing and live outside to his country. I think you are in the right country for your kids. I think you should think about that. Okay, if you are feel comfortable. My recommendation is very simple. If you like it, stay. Do it. You have a possibility to see the future with some nice light and happiness for you and for your family. It was a very nice conversation. I had the opportunity to share with you my experience in the US, and I can say that I still miss US. Is one of the reasons that I'm going there every year. Sometimes I don't know the the city that I want to visit. I just want to feel that I'm in US, and I miss him very much. All the best to you, Pedro. All right, keep doing. You do where you like it. Start thinking about what you're gonna do after that. But if you want to be a general manager in Portugal or whatever, I have a lot of doubts about future about that. In Portugal, doesn't have the culture of general manager. Here, the system is presidentialist. Oh, it's very interesting. Nuno, I don't want to take your time, but I want to say my last thing. Saying this. In Portugal, don't exist franchises. Only exist clubs. But the way they operated, it's like to be franchises because the president owns the clubs. In America, no clubs, only franchises. But the system is completely different than over here. Where is the success, in Portugal or in US? This is my question. So the system and the UEFA and FIFA must learn how to run sports and the business to be successful.
Thank you, António, for your knowledge, everything. It's a big pleasure, and also to Pedro, keep your career fantastic, doing great. And I don't know if you want to say something to António before.
I want to say it's a huge honor for me talking with you, because you are a legend in Portugal, and for me it's an honor to be here in this conversation and learn things about the past, and you sharing the very good things with me, and for sure in the future gonna help me, because it's always important to learn with the experienced people, and you more than everyone have a lot of experience, and like I said, it's a huge honor for me talking with you, and thank
Pedro,
you for sharing with me.
vou falar em português. Força.
Obrigado.
Nuno,
And I want to say one more thing. If you want to come here, watch a game, you have my invitation to come here when these things pass. If you want to come here, you have my invitation to watch a game.
Obrigado pela atenção. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you both, and of course for me it was the biggest pleasure to have you both in here, and keep safe. I hope you be well, and all your families, and again I challenge all you guys, because in Portugal we know of course the honor it is to have António, Simões and Pedro Santos. We know them very well and we are very proud of them, but we have people from all over the world that maybe they don't have an idea of how great they are, both of them. So please go and search and start follow them, and you'll be in love by their careers for sure. Thank you guys, and everybody, and see you soon, and keep in touch and be safe. Okay, it was a pleasure. Bye.
Thank you. No, welcome. Bye-bye.